Up until now, news about the state attorney general's race has been drowned out by coverage of higher profile campaigns, but that may be changing. Both candidates, Republican Steve Cooley and Democrat Kamala Harris, recently started their advertising campaigns. Political editor Randy Shandobil has a special report.
The two candidates for California Attorney General, a Democratic woman of color, a Republican white male. San Francisco District Attorney Kamala Harris versus Los Angeles District Attorney Steve Cooley. Cooley was raised in a law enforcement family.
My dad was an FBI agent. He joined before World War II.
Harris was raised by two civil rights activists who met in Berkeley.
So growing up, I was surrounded by adults who pretty much spent full time marching and shouting about that thing we call justice. And the heroes for me in that civil rights movement were the lawyers.
Lawyers who turned the protests into actual law. Before being elected as San Francisco's DA, Harris was a deputy DA for Alameda County. She says she became a prosecutor not just to put away street thugs, but to penalize corporate thugs and polluters as well.
You go into certain communities that happen to be socioeconomically poor communities, and have been traditionally a dumping ground, and you will see babies growing up in those communities with unacceptably high rates of asthma.
In Los Angeles, Cooley told us he would prosecute environmental crimes too. But unlike Kamala Harris, who supports AB 32, California's anti-global warming law, Cooley says it's potentially a job killer.
Do you support AB 32?
I will absolutely work to implement it because it is currently the law, and that's what dictates.
That doesn't sound very passionate. It doesn't sound like you believe in it, like you really care about it.
I don't need to believe in it. It's the law.
Cooley, who was once a reserve police officer, says he's tougher on street crime than Harris.
Here in Los Angeles County, we achieved the death penalty 13 times last year.
As opposed to Harris, who in her 6 years as DA has never asked for the death penalty.
I am personally opposed to the death penalty, but I will follow the law. My position on the death penalty is the same as 4 of the last 9 attorneys general of California, including the current one.
But Cooley says Harris has passed up classic death penalty cases, including the killing of a San Francisco police officer.
And she did it in a rather offensive way. She announced it before Officer Isaac Espinosa was buried.
In that case, the jury returned a verdict of second-degree murder. That case didn't qualify for the death penalty.
But when she says that she would enforce it, it sounds like you don't believe her.
I don't believe her. I don't believe her. The past is the best predictor of the future. She's never enforced it in the past. She's never considered it. She ruled it out.
And I will not cede my law enforcement and crime-fighting credentials to anyone. I'm a career prosecutor. I have personally prosecuted homicide cases. I've personally prosecuted gang cases. There are a lot of people spending a whole lot of time in the state prison because of the work I've personally done in a courtroom.
So far, the Attorney General's race hasn't seemed to capture voters' attention. But here's something worth keeping in mind. Since 1971, every Attorney General has eventually run for California governor. Political editor Randy Shandobil, KTVU Channel 2 News.